Yuck. Justifiably or not, that's probably the most common reaction to the remarkable detail we find in this week's Parshat Tazria Metzorah of bodily excretions and skin afflictions. We have there quite a taxonomy of menstrual blood, different types of severe leprosies, laws of one's status after a variety of bodily excretions, male or female, whether natural or due to illness. Not the sort of things we usually discuss at the dinner table, let alone in the synagogue. And it is particularly jarring to the modern ear, as these laws have been frozen for about 2,000 years, since around the destruction of the temple. They don't seem to have any current application, so what is the point? Furthermore, I would like to find the connection to Yom HaAtzmaut of all things. Next week, we shall be celebrating the 70th anniversary of the rebirth of the State of Israel, a very momentous occasion for all of us in Israel. So perhaps there's a connection of the Parsha to that. Once I was a teacher, and I had a principal who used to say whenever we would approach these Parashot, he'd say, his eyes would lit up and he'd smack his lips and he'd say, "These are my favorite Parashot." And when I used to ask him, well, why is that? And so he would say, "These are the Parashot of Eretz Yisrael." How so? And the answer was, in one word, feedback. Now, what did he mean by that? It's rather well known, the question that we ask about the punishment of the snake in the Garden of Eden. His curse is phrased, "V'afar tochal kol yemei chayecha." You're going to have to eat dust all your life. And the question is, well, what's so bad about eating dust? I mean, I wish I could eat dust. I wish my children would eat dust. I mean, there's so much of it around. If you were to say to him, you have to eat ice cream your whole life, that would be a curse for the snake. So the answer that is usually given is given through a parable of two princes, both of them rather loved by their father, the king, but in very different ways. With one, the king had a very intimate relationship, and he would see him every day, and he would discuss all sorts of matters of a very personal nature. And the other one, he loved him, and he had a connection with him, but he wouldn't see him every day even, and it was just a different sort of a connection. So one day they get to the age where it's time for them to leave the palace, and he calls them both in, and he awards each of them with a gift for them to take away with them when they leave the palace. And to the one which he has less of a connection to, he gives a check for $10 million. And to the one which he is very intimate with, he gives a check of $10,000. And so they both smile and express their appreciation. And as they're leaving the room, so the one who has a better connection with, a more deep connection, turns around and says, "Just can I have a private word with you?" And he says to him, "Thank you for the gift, very much appreciated, but maybe you could explain to me, we have a very tight connection between us, and I did notice that my brother was given a check of $10 million while I was given $10,000, and why was that discrepancy?" And so his father explains to him, "I love your brother, and I wish him all the best, but I don't really need an ongoing connection with him. So I gave him a check for $10 million, and I don't know when I'll see him again. When he needs me, if he needs me, he'll contact me. And with you, I gave $10,000 because I figure that $10,000 will run out rather quickly, and you'll be back. And I want that connection." So it was with the serpent, the snake in the Garden of Eden. God says to him, "I don't want any connection with you. Here's your dust. You can have it. Get out of here." It's considered to be the most severe punishment possible from God. A break in connection. So it was with the golden calf. The punishment, if you look at those verses, is that the Shekhinah leaves Israel. the divine spirit, the presence of God leaves the camp. No more connection. Once I was in a course on management, and the fellow who gave the course was a wonderful professional, and he gave 7 meetings, each one half a day. And they were outstanding meetings, and I learned a tremendous amount from them. And at one point he said, the next thing I'm going to say, the next sentence, is the most important sentence I'm going to say in the entire course. Now that course, 20 years ago, cost $200 an hour, and I'm going to give it to you now for free. And he said, the most important thing you can do as a team leader, that's what I was at the time, the most important thing you will need to do, and you must do, is to have a one-on-one meeting with each person in your team once a week. Now, why is that? Why is that the most important tool that one should use as a manager or as a leader? And the answer was feedback. The person that's working with you needs to know where he stands. Is he living up to your expectations? Perhaps he's left the manner and way in which you wish him to function. He wants to know, how can I improve? How can I adjust myself so I'm working according to your expectations? How can I improve? So now imagine a meeting like that with God from time to time, perhaps once a week. What am I doing which is not according to your wishes? How would you like me to improve? That's the pasuk from this week's parasha. Ki tavo el eretz Canaan, asher ani noten lachem la'achuza, v'natati nege tzarat. When you come to the land of Canaan, which I'm giving to you for a possession, I'm going to give you the plague, the affliction of psoriasis or of leprosy. So Rashi says, give you? I'm going to give you leprosy? What's so positive about that? So Rashi says, it's wonderful news that these plagues are going to come to you. What's so good about it? It's feedback from God. But only ki tavo el eretz Canaan. It's only in the land of Israel. In the land of Israel, if you sin, you cop it. In the diaspora, go eat some dust. I'm giving you all your needs, but there's not going to be any Shekhinah, no divine presence there, no feedback. In Eretz Yisrael, there are challenges, but there's a coach. In the diaspora, you'll get your $10 million, but you're not going to hear again from the king. Here in Israel, if you're sensitive to the feedback you receive, you'll reach the heavens, you'll reach the skies. But if not, then you will receive a referral to this week's parasha. Risk together with opportunity. If the king was to ask you, well, what do you prefer, $10,000 or $10 million? It could be that you would take the $10 million, but that would be the end of your personal development. It's what a popular group today calls when you get what you want and not what you need, or what somebody else called or referred to as be careful what you pray for. Which brings me to a story with which I shall end. It's the story of an eagle. He was with his friends in a group, flying across the sky, making beautiful formations, all sorts of acrobatics. And while they're going across the land at a tremendous speed, a big gush of wind hits them, and one of the eagles finds himself in some sort of wind tunnel and loses his balance and finds himself going very, very rapidly downwards, and he loses all control until thud, he lands in a chicken coop. It's the farm of Farmer Brown, and quite a panic breaks out with all the chickens, with this at the side of this eagle, but he's broken his wing, and so he's quite harmless. And so eventually they start approaching him. And then when Farmer Brown comes in to see what's going on in his coop, so he sees the wounded bird, and he brings him some food and some drink, and he takes care of him. And he lets him enjoy the heating of the chicken coop. And the eagle slowly improves and mends and starts feeling better and befriends all the chickens in the coop and the little chicks, and becomes quite popular there. And after a few months, he's actually quite happy there at his new home in Farmer Brown's chicken coop. So this is going on for about 6 months. And then after 6 months, the original group of eagles is flying in the opposite direction. And the head of the group looks down, and there he sees our eagle in Farmer Brown's chicken coop. So he says to his colleagues there, just wait here, I want to see if I can bring back our friend down there. So he swoops down, and he comes closer, and he sees the eagle down there in the chicken coop of Farmer Brown, and he calls to him, come back with us. So our eagle looks at him and he says, nice to see you, and thank you for the invitation. Just that, here with Farmer Brown, food is good, lots to drink. I like the heating, and lots of friends I've made here. Thanks, but no thanks. I think I'm going to stay here with Farmer Brown and the chickens. So the head of the group says to him, listen, if you want, you can stay here with your Farmer Brown, your permanent heating, your prepared food, and all the drink in the world. But if you stay here, you're a chicken. Come with me and be an eagle. It's more difficult, it's more challenging, but here in Eretz Yisrael, we have the Shekhinah, the divine presence. You have feedback. You feel the hand of God in event after historical event. Eretz asher Hashem Elokecha doresh ota. It is the land that the Lord your God cares for. Tamid enei Hashem Elokecha ba. Always the Lord your God is watching over it.